Here's how you can use AI to run not only your life, but to grow your business 10x plus. One of the very first things that I do is I use Claude as my advisor for many different things. The good thing about Claude is it's from Anthropic and you can make these different projects. You can put your financials, for example, it could be your personal financials. You can use your business financials. You can upload all that content and then you can say, hey, Claude, I want this project to focus on being my personal CFO or my business CFO. So for me, for the business side of things, I took all my financials from the last couple of years and I said, okay, make me projections for 2025. Then I'll also say, hey, here are my 3-year goals, 4 years goals. Like, what do I need to do to get there? Is this realistic? What hires do we need to make? What else am I not considering? And so it'll graph all these things out. And then the cool thing is I can make these, they're called artifacts. So I'll make these financial dashboards, which I used to have to take days or weeks to ask my finance team. Now I can do this in a matter of minutes. And then I can also make that dashboard public. I can make it a link, right? And I can share it with people. I don't know if you want to do this with your personal financials, but for me, I uploaded my personal financials and I said, hey, help me do like an expense breakdown of how my spend has trended over a year on year, or maybe the last couple of years or so. Like, where am I overspending? Where am I spending too much? Where do I need to cut back on, right? And so some of these things, like, your years go by so quickly that you don't really understand how you're going about your spending and how much you're averaging per month, right? For me, I use a product called Tiller. That's Tiller. There's a lot of different things that you can use out there. Maybe you can just drag in your bank statements, for example, but Tiller helps me classify things. It just makes things easier for me that way. I think everyone for sure can use it from a personal finance standpoint. From a business standpoint, if you just having that personal CFO there where you can ask questions at any given time and not have to wait days or weeks to get a response, that goes a long way. So let's move to the next one. I believe that if you don't take care of yourself, if you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself first, you can't take care of your business, right? Especially if you're a founder that's watching this. If you're a founder, you're the one that's responsible for increasing the temperature in a company, for bringing new ideas, for really pushing the pace. You cannot afford to not take care of your health, right? Because if that's the first thing to go, that's the only thing that you worry about. And so for me, I take all my blood work, I take my sleep data, my miscellaneous health reports, and I ask for feedback on how I can improve. As a side note, you can also dump this into Notebook LM, which is Google's tool, and they'll make a podcast talking about your reports, right? They'll create like a briefing doc as well. I might upload this data into ChatGPT or Claude. Claude makes a lot of sense. ChatGPT also has projects as well, but I think Claude's a little cleaner there. Then I can workshop on how I can plan, how I can improve. For me, I also use a product called My Body Tutor where I fill in my workouts every day and then my diet every day. If I can take all that data, I can export it into this health advisor. Then this thing just knows me really well. And then it can also work with future health advisors, like human health advisors, taking all my data and summarizing it for that advisor. But for me, it's an optimization game because for my blood work that I do quarterly, I'm constantly testing this metric's becoming too high. Okay, what do we need to do to get it lower? Maybe there's certain exercise I need to do, certain foods I need to eat, maybe certain supplements I need to take, right? But it's all a game of optimization. And if you optimize your body, you're going to do a lot better for your company. You're also going to do a lot better for your friends and your family, right? Because I find that when I'm not locked in on my health, if I'm not training in the morning, then I'm just like, whoa, what am I doing with my life, right? If I'm constantly not eating healthy, then I'm kind of like, what am I doing with my life, right? But when I'm well-oiled, I'm just like, man, we're flying. Every day I'm waking up, I'm like, I'm good to go, right? And that's how you want to be for your business. You want to talk about 10x in your business? For sure, that's going to 10x your business over time. The third one I would say is having a content advisor. So going back to Claude AI, I have it trained on my writing style. So what I did was I took my top performing tweets, for example, or X posts, and I put them into a Google Doc. And then I just took that style. I just wanted the LLM to get an example of how I go about writing, what my style looks like. And then I just make it into my voice, right? It's called Eric Tweet Style Voice. Then what I do is I'll come up with content ideas I want to workshop with Claude AI. And then it'll help me figure out how to take my tweets, for example, from a 7 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. It helps me level up my content. Or for example, this YouTube video, I might have one thumbnail concept, one headline concept, but dumping into like a ChatGPT, one of the more advanced models, it'll actually think through different concepts. And I'll say, give me your 4 best ideas from a packaging standpoint that are likely to go viral. They'll come up with different ideas. And then my team doesn't have to do a lot of the thinking on their own and we can just move a lot faster, right? And a lot of this is ultimately just moving a lot faster. We're just going to become a lot more efficient as human beings. I guess this would be the fourth one. So ChatGPT, I do pay for the $200 model. It's $200 a month right now. It's for the pro model. And it does a great job of thinking through tasks. And as of now, when you look at a lot of LLMs, you'll get the answers pretty quickly because it's coming quickly because it hasn't thought through the answers, right? And sometimes for the vast majority of tasks, it's probably okay. Like if I'm asking a question on what does dairy mean? What does soy mean, right? Then it'll just spit out an answer very quickly and that's okay. I do need to think through more complex tasks such as mergers and acquisitions, right? So it'll help me calculate a discounted cash flow analysis, discounted cash flow forecast. And so I just want to understand if I'm going to buy this business, let's say I want to buy an agency, what are the cash flows going to look like over the next 10 years? I'm going to discount that cash flows, right? And then I can put a true valuation on that company. If you're in B2B, here's the deal. LinkedIn account-based marketing sucks, but it doesn't have to. With Carrot, it allows you to create personalized ads ads towards your customers, and also personalized landing pages that align with the ads, so you're going to have higher conversions, and influence pipeline reporting to prove that your ABM works. So if you want to learn more, just go to carrot.ai and you can join the waitlist. Again, it's carrot, KARROT.ai, and we'll see you on the other side. By the way, like, my background isn't in finance, but when I can workshop this with an LLM, I can move a lot faster. I don't need to wait weeks. I don't need to wait days to get something done. And that makes me happy. Also, I can calculate the internal rate of return, right? So what type of return I'm going to get for investing in this company or buying this company outright. It just comes down to I can move a lot faster. You do need to understand these concepts. So you're never going to have to stop learning. You're always going to have to be learning, right? Because if you don't learn this stuff, you're just going to be like, you just don't know what to look for. You don't know how to prompt. If the knowledge isn't there, you're not going to know what to prompt, right? But the more you push yourself in terms of knowledge, the more creative you're going to get, and the more that you're going to get what you need out of AI. So the fifth one over here, this is kind of related to health again. I do take pictures of my food, and I often ask what it is and to give me a calorie count, right? So I mentioned My Body Tutor, which is what I use. It's basically an accountability coach where I just drop in my diet and my food choices every day. And as of right now, I'm trying to keep my calories to about 1900 a day, and I'm trying to work out every single day, right? I use AI to break down all my workouts into bullet point form, so that doesn't take me forever to write out. I just dictate it out. And then when I take pictures of food, it'll say, hey, this looks like steak. And sometimes it'll guess the sauce correctly as well. Like, most of the times it guesses things correctly, and it'll give me a rough calorie breakdown if I don't know what it is that I ate. It's way more easier for me to just move a lot faster and get these things done. Otherwise, I don't think I would want to fill in my food every day and my workouts every day. It's just too tedious, right? A lot of the tedious things are getting done a lot faster now. Now, I think this would be number 6, but Gemini 2.0 came out recently. Basically, they're going to be releasing, this is Google's LLM, they're going to be releasing agentic features, which allows them to basically just use your computer and do, rote work, such as like finding leads or emailing people, for example, right? Imagine you have multiple computers doing this. Primarily, right now, I use Gemini for travel planning. It does a pretty good job with that because it leverages all of Google's data. I also like how it's connected to YouTube as well. I like how it's also connected to Drive. And so that's a huge plus because you can just pull from your data and then give you thoughts on all the stuff that you have in your Drive, right? Or certain documents that you have, or like analyzing YouTube videos. I think Google has Notebook LM where you can take YouTube videos, or you can take links from websites and it'll just analyze like long form articles, or it'll analyze PDFs that I've downloaded and it'll just summarize it and make it very quick, easy to digest. It'll even make it into a podcast. That makes it easier. I'm faster again, right? It makes it easier for me to digest content and get to the point very quickly. That's not to say I don't like reading long form content, but sometimes you just don't have enough time. There's also, Gemini there's a dev studio. If you type in dev studio Google or dev studio Google Gemini, you should be able to find this, but you can literally talk to the AI while you're screen sharing basically with the AI and saying, hey, analyze this website for me. What could be better what can I improve about the conversion rates here? What do we need to do about this website? How does this website flow right now? How are we doing from an internal linking standpoint? You're the world's best SEO, or you're the world's best conversion rate optimization expert. When you do this with Google Dev Studio, it responds to you very quickly. There's not like, awkward pauses and things like that. It's more of a free flowing conversation. So I'm pretty excited about what's going to come there. And then the last thing I'll give you here, I think this will be number 6, is honorable mention. Different coding agents like Cursor, Replit, V0, or Bolt.new. There's a lot of these that are coming online, and a lot more people are using this to make front-end prototypes that might get you 50 to 70% of the way there, where you can share it with your developers and they can finish coding it for you. And I've seen some people actually from the beginning just prompting and then taking screenshots of apps that they like and then making it into their own. Complete platforms being built where people can take payment, right? I think that's really exciting from a business standpoint because the cost of software is just going to continue to come down. And I do believe you as a business owner, if you're a business owner, you're going to be building more software for a lot cheaper, and you're going to be making bespoke solutions for your customers. That's going to increase the lifetime value of your customers, and ultimately you're going to make a lot more money. Your customers are going to be a lot more happier. Now it takes minutes to get this done. It used to take days or weeks to get a prototype out there. Those are just a couple things that I think are unconventional use cases that will help grow your business or 10x your business from an AI standpoint. Let me know what you think I missed in the comments. And if you check out this video over here, it is on basically the 12 best new ways of growing with digital marketing in or I'm just gonna say next year, right? Have it be a little more evergreen. So that being said, we'll catch you later.